right, welcome back into Market Day Report. This is it, right? This is the last time we're going to see each other for the rest of the day, except 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern. I want you to tune in for the Cow Guy Close. We're going to cover some really good subjects here. That's going to be a good show, a great show, actually, not just a good show. And we've got absolutely super guests. You've seen them on all the other networks as well. So 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern, that's going to be in about, 15 and a half minutes from right now. So before we get there, we got to go through these prices. Let's get to corn and see what's happening there. 4 3/4 cents higher in the D's contract. 6.86 1/4 is last. Only 3/4 of a cent off the highs. March is up 4 1/4 as well to 6.92, and that's a penny off the highs. Moving right along, they say. Moving, get that? Soybeans 10 3/4 cents higher in Nove. 13.82 and 3/4 is last, right? So look at that. That's 4 cents off the highs. Not bad. We're well off the lows. Jan's up 11.5 cents to 13.92 and 3/4. How about wheat? Wheat market in Chicago. Chicago wheat. December is sharply unchanged. It's 8.38 3/4. We got March down 0.5 cent to 8.57 3/4, and May down 1/4 cent to 8.68 1/4. Moving right along, he says, hard red wheat in Kansas City is up small, 1 1/4 cents higher. We've got a little bit of a gain here. This has been a little bit of a negative board as of late, but here we go. Making some moves here towards the end of the day. Dees is up 1 1/4 cents to 9.39 1/4. Still got a ways to go to maybe make a new high, but still, we've got some up arrows there. 1.5 cents higher in March as well to 9.38 1/2. Spring wheat, that was a little bit lower. Yeah, 5 cents lower. Dees 9.52 3/4 is last. And we've got March off 4.5 cents to 9.60 1/2. And then finally, the laggard of the group for months now, 275 points higher in that Dees cotton contract to 78.88, which gives me a great segue to our next guest analyst. That would be Ted Seifried from Zaner Ag Hedge. He's in Chicago, I believe. Ted, thanks for being on the show. Do you have any bubbling fountain of wisdom? You have anything for us here today?
No.
All right. See you next week.
No. Moving right along.
That's
though,
right.
Up one day or down one day, up the next, turnaround Tuesday. Okay, so we are higher after being lower yesterday. But man, we are just drifting. We are listless. We are just not really having any sort of sense of direction in the grains markets right now.
Right.
Look at corn. It's been sideways for about 2 months. And granted, these are some fairly large ranges, but consider the prices that we're at. So from a percentage basis, it really isn't. So we're waiting for the next shoe to drop.
It's time for the clearing firms and the exchanges to make money now, right? Just let them have their term, right? That's what they're the only ones.
Let the day traders go at it.
Right, exactly right.
But today is the dollar, right? And that's the thing that we need to be focusing on from a broader term perspective. You've got a big break in the dollar, down over 1,000 points, testing very key trendline support. It's held so far today, and are we going to bounce from this and continue to stay in this upward trending channel that it's been in? If that's the case, then the strength that you're seeing in the grains here today might be short-lived. But if the dollar breaks out to the downside, well, then commodities as a whole are going to benefit from that. So in a sort of vacuum for news right now, Scott, we're all looking at the dollar, and that might dictate trade here for a little bit.
Yeah, and just think about what this market could have done had we not seen these 112, 113, 114 levels in the dollar. That's obviously been something that's going to be holding things back. But boy, if you start to see that dollar come off, which I think, I don't know if you said it that way or not, but I think it will, because the rest of the world also has some dollar debt, and that's going to make everything that they own more expensive, and then it's also going to hinder our exports, and they can't buy anything from us. So it's one of those things. It's the unintended consequences of having a strong currency, because there's a lot of folks out there that have to raise their rates, even though their economy can't afford it, to kind of stay in line with us as far as the currencies go. And I've seen that, and I've traded that before, and that gets to be pretty dicey. So that's a good point. All right, we're going to go away. We're going to take a quick break, and Ted, don't leave anywhere. We're going to talk livestock with Ted Seifried. We'll come back after these messages. All right, welcome back to, let's see, what are we doing? Market Day Report. I almost said commodity rep kickoff. My brain's got to fly in it sometimes. All right, let's take a look and see what these prices are in the livestock. That's what I want to see. Cow guy likes live cattle. Let's take a look at December live cattle, down 80 cents to 153.32. And we're getting close. That's only about, 17 cents away from the lows of the day there. So deep Feb's off 25 cents to 156.72. Moving on over to the feeder cattle. What do we got when the feeders are down 97 cents? And that Nove contract to 178.17. 7 cents from the lows. $1.57, 157 lower in the Jan to 180 spot 37. If we take a quick peek at lean hogs, they're kind of mixed. It's a little smattering, but we'll take these higher, 52 cents higher, 88.45. That's in the middle of the day's range. February's up 17 cents to 90.62. Let's bring back in Ted Seifried from Zaner Ag Hedge. Ted, anything tickle your fancy when it comes to talking about livestock?
Well, cows do attract flies, Scott, so that does make sense. Aside from that, yeah, okay, let's start with hogs. Yeah, look, we had that pretty significant break right around 11 o'clock in hogs. It happened very quickly, and then we took it all back very quickly. If we had stayed down there, we'd have this outside reversal down day in hogs, but it doesn't seem like that's where it wants to close. In fact, like you said, up 50, 55 right now, looks like it wants to close higher on the day. We continue to be rather overbought. We've had this really massive rebound off of the lows in hogs. I keep thinking that maybe we're going to see a correction, but then you have a day like today where, you find some selling pressure happen briefly, and then it comes right back. And again, I think that strong dollar has a lot to do with that as well. So maybe we're not ready to have a correction in the hogs. Maybe they want to go back and continue to test highs. As far as cattle are concerned, I get a little worried that we're sort of getting a little pricey up here. I'd like to see continued exports. I'd like to see exports really pick up a bit more than they have. I'd like to see consumer domestic demand stay strong. I worry that we should see a little bit of a price rationing type scenario here in the cattle, but at least for the moment, it seems pretty good. And the feeder cattle have been really rather resilient, even though corn has been very sideways to finding some strength here and there.
When freshwater meets seawater, you know what that water is called?
Brackish.
Right. It just feels like everything's kind of brackish right now. We have equal and opposites pushing against each other. We have to wait for some sort of breakout. I mean, we've had the stock sell off hard, but we've had a short-term rally here. Is it the beginning of something bigger, or is it something a head fake? It just seems like that wherever we look, that's what's been going on. So it's just a bunch of brackish water to me right now, and we'll have to. Only time will tell, but we'll see what happens.
I love the analogy, Scott. That's fantastic.
I'm shocked that you actually knew the word. That's really good. So you're got a good IQ there. All right, thank you very much for being on the show, Ted Seifried, Zaner Ag Hedge. I'm going to bring it back home to Nashville, and I'm going to wonder if Suzanne ever knew what the word brackish was.